this regular meeting of the Albion Planning Commission to order. If you have a cell phone, please either turn it off or put it on silent. We have a roll call of the commission.
Commissioner Albert Amos. Mayor Snyder.
Here.
Scott Kipp.
Here.
Mark Lally. Tom Pitt.
Here.
Sharon Pons. Lynn Reed. George Strander.
Here.
And Joseph Rebecki.
Here. And the record reflect that is here. It's going. Moving on now. Approval of prior meeting minutes.
George's.
Motion to
Yeah.
approve?
Turn the mics up.
Support. These are minutes from April 19. We have a motion to approve as drafted has been supported. Any discussion?
If you all could turn your mics on, please. You hold on to it, turn your mic. Yep.
All right. Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it matter to a vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as drafted signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, they are approved. Just one note on your agenda, if you happen to have it, you might see public comments listed twice. So the first one really isn't where it should be. The second one is where it should be. So you can just cross out that first instance. If you have a copy that has two of them. All right, moving on to correspondence. Any correspondence? Jill, do you know of any correspondence?
We do have an email that was sent to Commissioner Tom Pitt. So we should have the copies in front of us at this time.
Right.
It's a little faint, my ink is getting low.
Right. I received an email from Mr. Angerman as well.
Okay.
I believe it's safe to say that he's advocating for the commission to recommend the suggested change in the ordinance regarding the overlay district. Is that how you understood it, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. Rather than read the whole thing into the record, unless there's a commissioner who wants it till read. All right, so that's from Mr. Angerman, and Mr. Angerman, as I recall, is from Wild Bill's Tobacco. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is a public hearing, and I open that public hearing, and I have a nice little primer here, which is better than what I normally have, so I'll follow that. And the next step is for me to summarize the process for everyone. After I'm done with this, I'm going to ask staff to present a report on the applicant's request. And I'm going to read any correspondence into the record, so maybe I do have to read that. Then there's a public speaking portion of the hearing where I'll ask for those who are in support to come and speak and those who are in opposition. And then there'll be some questions and rebuttal. We'll see how that goes. And then I'll close the public hearing. Part of the public speaking part of the public hearing. Then there's a finding of facts, which I suppose we would have to do as a body, and then we would deliberate. So, I don't know, is this from the attorney?
No, that was actually, it used to be on the bottom of the agendas.
Okay.
But it kept
Seems-
popping up.
Seems a little more detailed than normal, but that's fine. All right, so, Ian, were you going to give us a primer here on the matter of the public hearing?
Sure, absolutely.
So it might look a little familiar to you and probably identical, except in the ordinance number, to something that you took action on at your last meeting. There was a mistake between me, the city attorney, and the city clerk in getting the right version of the ordinance that you were supposed to be adopting that overlay district map with. And essentially, this is just that corrected with the right version of that ordinance on your agenda from the city attorney. I was hoping he would tune in virtually tonight, but I don't think that made it on his calendar. But in essence, this is regarding the overlay district, which was set by ordinance by council, and then planning commission was asked to recommend a map for that overlay district. On our end, we didn't give you the right information on your agenda, so in essence, the action you took during the, I believe it was March meeting on this, because we didn't have it in time for April. The March meeting on this was void, not effective. So what we have there is the map originally presented to you by the EDC to expand the overlay district encompassing all of the parcels under the industrial park. So I took Amy's version of that map and just made it into that GIS image that you're seeing there. I'm hoping that's coming out clearly in your packets. That is the same map in terms of what parcels that overlay district affects that the EDC asked you to consider 2 months ago. And it is just back before you for that same consideration because that action taken didn't count. I don't know if I have quite the formal report that I would have then. If you have any questions, I'm certainly happy to answer them to the best of my ability.
And again, just the Reader's Digest version here is that this would allow for any of the marijuana operations throughout the entire industrial park. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Any commissioner questions, comments?
So Ian, basically, are you saying that what we approved in the March meeting, the map was incorrect, or was there verbiage within?
Verbiage within how the ordinance was put on your agenda.
Okay.
I believe it referenced the original.
We need to close that door. Sorry. Thank you.
It referenced the ordinance number under which the overlay district was initially adopted, which we can't do for amending that ordinance. We have to adopt a new ordinance which amends the code that created. So this is 2022-04. I believe that one was 2021-19 or something like that. This was sent to us directly by the city attorney to put on your agenda to make sure that we didn't make that mistake this time.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you. All right. Bear with me. This is from Nick Angerman. It's a piece of correspondence regarding this public hearing. My name is Nick Angerman. I was writing you today in regard to an agenda item for tonight's planning commission meeting. I found this email address to this City of Albion website. I wanted to write you and your colleagues today about the benefits of moving forward with, in addition to expanding adult use marijuana. Given the nature of the topic, I wanted to express the logical benefits of adding adult use marijuana to the City of Albion. As with any social measure government takes, I am confident there will be many voices there to dissent this amendment, solely using emotional appeals of their individual values and the common stigmas heard countless times surrounding cannabis. However, as I'm sure you're aware as a public official, there is more to complexity to these propositions than emotional opinions when making decisions such as these. Albion has seen a healthy and productive relationship with medical marijuana within your municipality. While crime is a typical concern for those unaware of the requirements for opting the MMFLA or MRTMA, Albion's relation.
It's off. It's signed off. It's broken. I'm sorry.
Okay. Albion's relationship with the former portrays the reality of how safe it is in actuality. As someone who virtually attended the police commissioner's report to the city council meeting, I do not recall any instance or dilemma that arose from a criminal lens with the presence of medicinal marijuana in the community. Likewise, this has been true for the vast majority of communities throughout the state that have opted into MMFLA or MRTMA within their jurisdictions. Contrary to popular sentiment among those unfamiliar with the industry, there is typically no correlation between the presence of marijuana facilities, whether growers, processors, or dispensaries, and an increase in crime. As you know from opting into MMFLA, the security requirements to run a facility are incredibly stringent and heavily enforced. Regardless, this is always an accusation of opting in by those who abide by NIMBYism toward cannabis. However, whether looking at crime reports in our state or throughout the nation and other states that have legalized, there is not empirical evidence to suggest as such. As seen across the United States, regulation and control of cannabis takes away the danger of when the product is sold in the black market. Furthermore, regulating adult use marijuana would be highly beneficial to the city of Albion through two additional lenses. Likewise, to a positive relationship with cannabis through crime, the city of Albion would benefit from a fiscal standpoint by approving the current ordinance with the addition of adult use retail. Growing and processing facilities will be able to help the city of Albion financially. However, not including adult use retail would place a significant barrier to the potential gains the city could see from not including retail establishments. Allowing grower and processor facilities in the processed overlay district would help create a steady network of jobs for those within the community, and hopefully their spending of that money could stay within the local economy and help it thrive. However, while these gains would be sizable from a jobs and income perspective, the city would not benefit from additional tax dollars received from the state. Those funds are seen through the presence of adult use retailers as opposed to growers and processors. Currently, the city of Albion is able to gain additional resources to funding through their opting into MMFMLA and specifically the provisioning center. Conversely, should the city allow for adult use retail, it would allow a significant influx of tax revenue relative to present day. Allowing for growing and processing adult use marijuana is helpful, but from a financial viewpoint, as well as what I will conclude with next, there would be a loss of potential benefits that would come with not opting into adult use retail as well. Finally, the city of Albion would benefit from opting into MRTMA, including adult use retail, in order to allow for future growth. For a few reasons, there's a loss of potential from continuing to operate in Albion without adult use retailers. As mentioned previously, there's a loss in tax dollars. However, the current medical operation in Albion is being negatively impacted. Medical-only facilities are no longer a sustainable model of business within the state of Michigan. Depending on the municipality, 75 to 85% of marijuana sales are adult use as opposed to medical. Certainly, this is partially due to the opportunity for sales to all adults over 21. However, there's been a noticeable decrease in medical card renewals throughout the state. Many attribute this to the concept that once patients have learned what products and doses are most effective for them, it is easier to simply buy these good as adult use products than to continue to pay for renewal fees and go through the process of being relicensed with the state upon expiration. As such, there are a high number of sales for medical purposes that are sold through the guise of adult use. Simply put, the current medical provisioning center will fail in Albion if there's not a change made given the circumstances seen throughout the state. Between the amount of patients moving to adult use for convenience, as well as a growing number of adult use dispensaries from outside communities such as Westland that residents will travel to or have delivered, the current provisioning center will be put in a futile position. Likewise, attempts to move forward in the community with adult use retail in the future would be more difficult with brand loyalty to store in outside communities who will be benefiting financially off of lost dollars from Albion. Allowing the flow of these products into Albion while neglecting the revenue as well as hindering the ability for a current business and any future ones does not seem like a beneficial long-term idea. I look forward to attending tonight's Planning Commission to express these concerns. Long before MMFLA or MRTMA, there was cannabis use in Albion. Regardless of how the city proceeds with MMFLA and MRTMA, there will continue to be cannabis use in Albion. It would be wise for the city to acknowledge this reality and ensure that the products being used are safe, regulated, tested, and providing financial benefits to their own municipality. As mentioned above, I believe that it would be a wise choice for the city to move forward with the ordinance amendment, but to also include adult use retail and allow for the current provisioning center to be able to co-locate as an exception to the adult use overlay district. While cannabis is a controversial topic, there's little doubt that it is an industry that is growing at a significant pace and will continue to do so as the stigma towards it decreases. I believe the city of Albion should take advantage of this opportunity and, while doing so in a mindful and safe manner, adapt to what can be a great potential resource for the community. I appreciate you taking the time to read this. I'm excited to hear the discussion of this opportunity for the city of Albion at tonight's Planning Commission meeting. All right, I should have gone through some exercises, I think, before. That's the correspondence I've seen. And now I'll open the public speaking portion of the hearing. Is there any individual present who wishes to come and speak in support of the ordinance idea? All right. Is there anyone who wishes to come and speak in opposition of the ordinance idea? All right, so questions and rebuttal are not necessary, and so we'll just close the public speaking portion. Finding of facts. Obviously, we haven't received any testimony from anyone. We did get some correspondence, and we had the report from staff. So, any thoughts from board members? Okay. I think this is actually on the order of business, so we're not really taking any action at this time, right? So this is simply the public hearing part. Okay, well, we haven't heard anything, so we'll just close the public hearing. And so now we'll go on to the order of business, which is, and the first one is our consideration of this proposed change to the ordinance, which we did, at least in substance, take care of 2 months ago with the expansion of the overlay district. It's the same concept, but there have been some changes to make sure that it meets all legalities. So I'll entertain any questions or any motions.
Well, could we be reminded of exactly what the overlay was and what it was covering? Because it was my understanding it was covering not only medical, but it was covering also recreational, and they were trying to.
Well, I'll ask Ian to just give us a reminder on that one.
Yes. So what the city of Albion broadly allows for is medical provisioning, medical growing and processing, and adult use growing and processing. We do not allow for adult use sales, so that is not what you're voting on tonight. The overlay district further discerns more specifically than our zoning ordinance, which does provide locations and districts for those uses. This overlay district further restricts that and is part of an ordinance council adopted last year and you were asked to create a map for. Like I said, didn't do that quite the right way. This map is covering the parcels that are the industrial park off of Austin in its entirety, as provided by the EDC. And so what this will functionally allow is for the EDC to essentially have more options in working with potential developers who want to put up buildings for growing and processing of marijuana, or run those operations themselves, leasing existing buildings, so that they're not limited by, only a select few parcels, essentially. Determined that the overlay district is containing it all to the industrial park, so within the industrial park, they don't want to be limited by which specific lots are available for that. This does not allow anything to happen in the city that was not allowed prior to council's adoption of this ordinance. It restricts activities that are currently allowed. Does that make sense?
So basically, what you're saying is that we're really dealing with the industrial park area, yes?
Correct.
And then what you're also saying is that, I guess, what was the reason the first time the overlay was adopted?
The reason it was adopted, or the reason it didn't work the last time I
The
was here?
reason it was adopted from the beginning, why did they do that overlay? Why was that put in place? Because it looked like we're trying to change it now, so I'm trying to figure out why they put it in place from the first place.
I would not feel comfortable trying to give a summary of council's exact reasonings for adopting that one, but the intent of the ordinance, the accomplishment of the ordinance was to restrict marijuana business to a specific portion of town.
And so it was put together by city council, that initial.
Yeah, it was put together by the city attorney and myself at the direction of council.
Okay.
At the
And
direction
now
of
they're
the city manager at the direction of
And
council.
now they're asking the planning commission to kind of reconsider that? I'm trying to.
No, they're not asking you anything. At the time, they were asking you to approve a map, which you initially did. Then Amy DePrez came back from the EDC, and the EDC, through her, asked you to expand that overlay district from, it was a few parcels in the industrial park. I don't remember exactly how they were picked, but it wasn't all of them, it was just some of them, I think about half. And so the EDC asked to expand that overlay district, asked you to recommend council expand that overlay district to encompass the entire park.
Okay, so they're asking planning commission to recommend to city council to,
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And so they asked that of you in March, and then there was a mistake on city administration's end, and so the action that you did take, which was in the affirmative to that request, was invalid.
Okay.
So this is that in all of its due process again.
okay, I'm good.
So we took a mulligan.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions or any motions?
Motion to approve the amendment as stated in the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and supported to recommend to the city council that this ordinance be changed in the way outlined, which was essentially the same as what we took up 2 months ago. And that would be to expand the overlay district for marijuana operations to the entire industrial district. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, that passes. Moving on now to approve medical marijuana provisioning license for renewal. Ian, you want to, this is for Sunny's, you want to give some background on that?
Yes. So, I'm sure you're all familiar with how these go at this point. You should have in your packet documents from the clerk with signatures of a few of us department heads, verifying that for the portions of Sunny's application that we were responsible for reviewing. Yes. You should see our signatures there stating that for the portions of the application that we were each individually responsible for reviewing, we did review them and found them to be in compliance. So we are recommending approval of the renewal of this license.
Okay. Is there a representative of Sunny's here?
Yes.
Come forward and give us your name and address.
Evening, Commissioners. My name is Attorney Sam Kilberg, and I represent Greenhouse Farms Albion 1, DBA Sunny's. My address is 39577 Woodward Avenue, Suite 300, Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, 48304. What you have before you is a renewal application. This application was originally approved by the City of Albion on November 5th, 2020. This application was again renewed for approval on March 1st, 2021, and we are here before you again seeking a renewal of that same application that's been previously approved 2 times by the city.
This is a medical marijuana provisioning center. Is this the one on Eagle Street?
Correct, located at 1410 North East Street, Sunny's.
Right.
If you have any questions, I'm open and available.
Yep. Any questions? How are things going there?
So currently, right now, as you'll see in the cover letter we submitted, and as you heard from the letter originally, the medical market right now is not surviving against adult use. So as you'll see if you drive by, we've currently temporarily halted sales at that location because my client was just losing money too fast. You know, the MRA, or the CRA, now formerly the MRA, is noting that 50% of all medical marijuana cards are not being renewed. So you don't have this consumer base because they're going to adult use. So I do echo the comments that were said at the public hearing earlier here this evening about the need for adult use, because that is really what the future is going to hold. My clients understand this. However, you know, we do have still an active state license. That facility, the utilities are on, the security system's on. You know, we could turn on the lights tomorrow and start up again. But they want to have that option going forward. You know, they were open. They made a business decision to temporarily halt. But 2021, you know, with the current market, they want to renew just to see what they can do in the future.
Okay. I have a motion from anyone.
Motion to approve the provisioning license for Sunny's.
Second.
Moved and supported to approve the application for renewal of the medical marijuana provisioning center license. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll bring it to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move now to approve adult use grower and processor permit for Panacea Health Solutions. Ian?
Yes. So Panacea Health Solutions, 1009 Industrial Boulevard, or Industrial Avenue, that's at the corner of Industrial where it becomes 27 and a half mile at Austin Avenue. This is not a renewal, this is a new application, but you should find in your packet a similar set of pages showing all of our signatures, verifying that according to each department review, the applicant was in compliance with everything we were required to review, and we are recommending approval.
All right, do I have any comments or do I have any motions?
Motion to approve the grower and processor permit for Panacea Health Solutions.
I support.
I support.
Okay. It's been moved and supported to approve this application by Panacea Health Solutions. Any discussion?
Is there a current building or is that just a?
It's next door to one that's, that you would have seen action on your previous agendas about 1007. This is 1009. There is an existing building there. They're working with my office and Safe Built on some interior renovations, but nothing that needed approval beyond my office. So, an existing building, some interior renovations.
And this is for a grower?
Yes, grower and processor facility.
Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion that's been supported to approve the application. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. All right, so remember, these are super secret, so we need to hand them all back in.
Yeah, they go together.
There might be one more. All right. All right, excuse absent board member, did we hear from anyone is it only Len?
And Mark.
Len and Mark? And yeah, let the record reflect that Sharon came in.
Mark emailed saying he was unable to attend.
Okay. Do I have any motion on this?
Motion to excuse Commissioner Lilly.
Okay. Any support?
Support.
Any discussion? Okay, we're bringing the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Public comments? Anyone wish to come forward and address the commission? Give us your name and your address.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Linda Lanou, and my address is 1102 East Michigan Avenue. I am here with two requests, but I want to start first by just acknowledging and recognizing each of you for your hard work and the toll the last 2.5 years have taken on all of us through the pandemic. I'm coming to speak specifically about the 5-year comprehensive plan, being a part of the steering committee to update that from the 2017 plan, but also being a part of the community engagement that happened in 2016 and 2017 when 20 years had passed from the city's previous comprehensive plan. It left this indelible imprint on me how important that plan was, and every time I try to share that with other people, I just feel like it's insufficient. So when this new plan came about and I had the opportunity to serve on the update, again, appreciation, Director Arnold, all of your hard work. I wanted to be able to open that opportunity to explore what's in the plan and then the goals and objectives with the community at large, and really take time to delve into that so that they can see themselves reflected in those goals, and also make sure that they feel a sense of engagement and belonging in the community as we continue to plan and grow. And so I wanted to basically just open that up and explore that opportunity with all of you, because that's something that I want to prioritize and engage. And so I plan to reach out to Director Arnold about hosting at least 1 or 2 events over the 63-day period that's already begun to be able to do that. But then also, in looking through the plan from 2017, the goals and objectives state that there would be progress reported and monitored on a quarterly basis from the Planning Commission. And I'm here to ask if that is in writing anywhere, if there's any progress from those 2017 goals that we could share so that we can help people see the progress that's been made. I know a lot of people are working very hard to move the city forward, but being able to speak about that in an accurate way is something I wanted to work with you all to do. Also, in that same vein, the progress that has been made, I think, should also be included in the 2022 through 2026 plan. In Chapter 9, the implementation, we speak to the goals being transferred, but we don't really talk about the progress that has been made. So I guess there's 3 asks. 1 is the engagement with the community. 2 is reporting on the progress that has been made. And 3 is putting that as an update into the plan before it is formally approved. And any questions from you all about those requests, I would be happy to hear.
Sure, I can speak a little bit to some of these. As you know, we had a fair amount of community engagement prior to the development of the draft. We had a stakeholder meeting, and we also had a meeting in the public. We had a youth meeting. Of course, additional community engagement certainly can't hurt, and I think that's, this 63-day window is an opportunity for people to come forward with comments. So if you're able to come up with, comments regarding the plan, that makes sense. That would be something that I think the commission would listen to. Regarding the progress, yes, back then, we charted the progress almost every meeting. So you could certainly go back and take a look at the minutes from those. And then COVID happened, and then, that was, we didn't really, I don't know what happened after that, but a lot of stuff got put on hold. But we were tracking a lot of different goals at that point in time. Tom, you were on the commission at that time. Was there anyone else here on it at the same time when we were going through all those things and we're trying to figure out, okay, did we meet this, or how much more?
A lot of that was in conjunction with the RRC process as well.
Right. So there's some information there. However, I think COVID sort of stopped a lot of things, and I think it stopped our sort of recurring review of that. So you might want to take a look at that and see what's useful there. And again, on the update part, of course, Ian, correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole point of the 63 days is to allow for comments to come forward. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, and those would be taken in by whom?
I think naturally the planning commission.
Okay.
I don't think I've verbalized it, but I assumed that anyone who received comments would probably direct them my direction, and I was going to keep an Excel sheet just kind of
Sure.
with those.
Okay, so I guess that's the process. I know that there's a handoff to the council at some point. I don't know if we have some plan as to when that was supposed to happen, so we would then backtrack as to when we would want to address any comments, but I'm sure you guys can figure that out. Any other commissioner questions or comments for Councilmember Ledoux?
If I can just add into it. So prior to COVID, just with, because I have seen the planning commission meetings where you guys did have discussion on the updates of progress of the goals. And then there was a series of transition in the city manager's office. So I know Dr. Mitchell was here when the last plan was formally adopted. And I know her office, along with the interns, they worked with the planning commission to have those updates at each meeting. With her departure and then the transition with the two managers following her, I can say there probably hasn't been as much engagement with the planning commission at that time, and then with Director Tracy leaving, who was also the director at that time, who helped develop that plan, it kind of was just, let's keep our heads above water, just business as is, and then with Director Arnold coming on board, and then we just did the recent update of that current plan. That probably is what happened prior to COVID, and then COVID hit, where not a lot really happened during that time.
I've forgotten all that, but that was a lot.
It is a lot.
So I think just in that transition within the city manager's office, like I said, the city was just really trying to carry forward with business the best that they can. But now that we are looking at some stability here in multiple levels within the city, we will start to have more regular updates and discussion on the goals that have been identified in the new updated plan. At the conclusion of the 63-day review period, any comments that are submitted to Director Arnold's office then will be brought forward to the Planning Commission to review, take into consideration if they would like to make any changes to the current draft that we have available. And at that time, then you would have the formal public hearing where you would then make the recommendation to City Council. So there is some time for public to provide feedback if there's any necessary changes that they would like to see in the draft plan before it goes forward with the public hearing and then final adoption by City Council.
Thank you. And is Raiders still helping us, or are they done?
They're still helping us at this point. I'd have to check back specifically to see what the service agreement entails, but we're on the tail end of that.
Okay.
Thank you all. And one more seed I'm going to water because it was already planted. At the end of Project Rising Tide, it was the completion of the RRC certification. And there, I actually just saw the video where I came to City Council to tell them about a celebration in March of 2020, which never happened because of COVID. So I think that being able to look back, reflect, and look forward and plan with the community at large on like specific milestones that have been reached is something that's very important and overdue. So I just wanted to offer that as well. And again, thank you. I'm gonna grab this information.
All right, any commissioner comments? Yeah,
Not, well, it is business related. Just wanted to make an apology. I do not believe in being late. No, I have my phone ringing. And I'm guilty of both this evening, which was slight emergency, so I'm sorry. Both.
no problem. That happens to all of us. Anything else? All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I support.
Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, I know you didn't chicken out, so I just
You wanted that.
get my job.
If you can hold the button down to turn off the mics.
Jill, should I just leave this here?
Oh, the abandoned vehicle? Yeah.
Okay.
I just printed it out.
Okay, okay.
It was on the,
Yeah, it made me read out the whole thing.
It varies. Sometimes the officers just do it because they see it, and most of the time it's because
I wasn't sure.
I could just see the one that 16 being, this is the